Right, folks, welcome back to another one, the Transatlantic Chinwag episode 3. I'm actually recording this in the UK. I am home in the motherland, and I feel like I'm doing this podcast pretty much somewhere different every time, so my microphone was clearly money well spent. But I have been thinking that maybe I should take this on the road. I'm always in hotels. I spend a lot of the time travelling with work, so maybe I'll do it there. So maybe I need like a portable microphone. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Very happy New Year to you all. This podcast is probably 2 or 3 weeks late in my head. I'm planning to do it for some time, but Christmas schedule has been crazy, and I'm sure we'll cover that off in the podcast today. But finally, as promised, I've got some exciting news. I'm going to bring a guest onto the show. I'm going to bring the other Smith in my life, isn't my other half, onto the podcast. She's the brains. If technology permits, I'm going to invite Laura to the show. So let's see if this is going to work. And if it doesn't, we'll just sit here awkwardly and wait. Oh, and as if by magic, there we go. It worked. Hello.
Hi, Ben. How are you?
Welcome to the interview for Top Podcaster of the Year. I'm in flipping Mario pajamas and my crazy quarter zip obsession, and you're dressed in school uniform, ready to rock and roll. What's going on?
I did have one of my several Uniqlo fluffy fleeces that everyone bullies me for, but I took it off. So I would have blended in very well, but it's not as good as your fleece.
Well, I'm in the dark purely just to give the feeling of we're in the UK and the sun has not shined for the 2.5 weeks that I've been here.
No, it hasn't.
But I do have one eye at the window because it's meant to snow, and I'm a big snow king. So I do have another guest on the show.
He's lovely.
And I say show, it's obviously not a show, it's a podcast, but I like to perform, so we'll go with it. Anyway, probably worth introducing yourself, maybe explain how we're friends. I've called you the other Smith, which sounds very rude, so maybe we'll explain that. Where you're from. It's literally like an interview now. But where are you from? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Why you're friends with me. No, you could maybe give the sensible or censored version of how we met as well, because it was quite the first meeting, and you might have to be a little bit cautious, let's say, as to how you explain it.
Yeah, so, well, I guess that's it. I knew Kelly from school. Yeah, the Smith number one. So I've known her for years and years now. The story of how we met is actually quite funny. I'm trying to think how to articulate this. Okay.
Well, I can start you off with how we met in a car, picking you up from, I don't even know where you were at. Maybe you were at Hannah's house. I feel like you, Hannah, and Kelly are like this crazy trio when you're together, and for somehow I got roped into picking Kelly up. And you got in the car, and that's the first time I ever met you. And yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to say.
I don't know what had gotten into me. I really don't. I don't think I'd had a lot to drink yet. That's the worst part of the story. I just had extreme verbal diarrhea and could not stop talking. I think I hadn't seen Kelly for a long time. So I was trying to catch her up with a lot of things, and I think I just disregarded your presence in the car and was like, he's the driver. Kelly, let me tell you everything, and just really spilled too much.
That was definitely glorified Uber. So I've probably known you like 9 years now.
Has it been that long?
I'm just trying to think. So I've been with Kelly. We're talking about it today, and it scared me a little bit. But I've been with Kelly for 12 years now, and we would have met. Well, no, I was in the band, so it would have been after university. I was in the band. That's another time that I met you. That was also another weird night when I'd got like the shits or something, and I had to perform. And I'm in Lichfield on that. I was in that. Oh God, what pub was it called? The Angel.
The Angel. Mm.
And you're nodding because there's also stories there that I won't share. Flipping heck. But yeah, no, I was performing in the band, and I think I met you then as well. And then I think I've probably seen you sporadically since, until we started, I guess, connecting in the US. Yeah. How many times have we seen each other in America now?
Three. Because I came to
So
Chicago on my
first,
own, then Chicago with Maddie, and then we went to Nashville, and then Vegas.
did we just? Oh God, I'm really lost with that. Yes, well, obviously moved to America. Um, you and Maddie obviously absolutely love America. So you've been to visit so many times, which has been awesome. But they're all blurring into one for me. Yeah, you came for
It
Chicago.
does blur into one.
Came for Chicago on your own. I remember that, and that was just Chicago. But then
Yeah.
the time you came with Maddie, was that Chicago and Nashville?
Yes. And then we went to New York after, and I cried in the airport like a baby, saying bye to you and Kelly. And she was like, Laura,
Well,
we're not going to war, we're going to New York. And then
I feel
we
like a
dragged
big part
away.
of our relationship is me just telling you to calm down and stop crying.
I stopped talking
Um,
about school and put my
and
belly
me,
away.
yeah. Oh God. So why are we doing this? I obviously explained like I guess my reasons for wanting to do a podcast with all this extra spare time on my hands. But I was like, I am so boring, and it's been really awkward for the first two episodes to talk to the camera on my own. And I was like, who's the most exciting person that I know, but also a kind of lives in. I feel like a lot of people associate England and life in England with London, so I think that works out really well as well. So, how did you move to London? I actually genuinely don't know this story.
I can't really remember. I didn't want to. I remember that much. So I think I applied for a graduate scheme and I was all set to move to somewhere boring like Reading or Leeds and was like,
Well, after university.
yeah, while I was still there and I was buzzing to get a car and live this settled life. And I got placed in London and I was absolutely seething that, like, I thought, I'm going to have no money. It's too busy. I hate it, blah, blah, blah. And then I moved and then was like, okay, I'm never, ever leaving. It was great. And
Isn't,
I can't remember where I
sorry.
moved to. Streatham Hill, South London.
Isn't that weird? Because Kelly always tells me it's like because whenever you come to America, she gets emotional and she's like, "Oh, it's so good because me and Laura always said we were going to live in America together and do all this kind of stuff." So it surprises me that you wouldn't want to live in London.
No, I know. I don't know why I didn't. I think I still want to live in America though. That is the dream. But
Yeah.
yeah, London is a close second favorite, I guess. If I'm not in America, it's just there's always something going on. It's just crazy.
Oh look, I know. Look, I love it. I
Mm.
think it's so spread out for me, and the trains and the tube, and you know the story where Kelly left me on the tube
I
station.
forgot about that. You get Ubers everywhere,
It,
don't you?
yeah, it's completely not for me. So I've seen you a couple of times this year. So weirdly, we were meant to be doing this podcast a couple of weeks ago, or a week. I don't know what day we're on. It's the 4th. Was it New Year? Day before New Year's?
Yeah, something like that. 29th, I
So,
think. Mm.
yeah. So you kindly invited us round to meet your family. I think it's probably the second time. So we played some games. We took a turn. Like I don't know. I didn't think anyone was drinking that much, to be honest with you. And then I was like, oh, well, I do know this one game, but you all need to be paralytic, and I've not played it for a long time. And everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, okay. And then it turns out everyone was clearly a lot more excited than I thought they were, so it was really funny. And then we had a great curry as well.
Yes, it was a great curry. No, my family and friends, we're all quite feral, so they they had a great night with you and Kelly. They were glad you came. Although
And
everyone
in
thought you were
all,
called Dan. Bless you.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And your stepdad is 100% into podcasts and UFOs.
Yes.
So I didn't talk to him anywhere nearly enough about it. And we'll talk about drones in a minute because I really want to get your thoughts on it. But it's really funny. Like, even the light and something else I'm going to show you in a second, I feel like I'm wishing it to be aliens. I've got like a real obsession now, but I think I'm playing up to it in a weird way because I'm not actually sure I think that the drones are aliens. But I was with my nephews the other day, and I don't know if you've heard of, you know, you can get like Play Doh,
Hmm.
but you can get like air Play-Doh, or I don't know what I don't even. I'm not exactly entirely sure what it's called, but it's like wet Play-Doh that you put together. But then you leave it, and the next day it goes like light as a feather and dries. And
Oh.
having been back with the family, the kids are like so full on, like it's insane. And it's normally just me and Kelly all day, every day, apart from when I travel. And it's been so full on. And to try and calm them down, my mum was like, "Oh, let's do this air Play-Doh thing." So you can imagine what I was
Oh,
making.
here we go. Oh, he's lovely.
Oh, it doesn't stop there though.
Oh my god.
And
Wait, there's
then Kelly made
more.
one.
Oh, that was so cute.
Yeah, she took, and then there's loads more, but this one made me laugh because it didn't set right, so it actually looks like he's just chilling. He's just like lying on the floor. Anyway, and now I look like a complete alien kooky person, but kooky a safe word to say?
I think so. Kooky.
I don't know if it's offensive in America, but anyway, I've said it now. How's your Christmas been?
It was good. It was good. We hosted it for the first time. I have a extreme high respect. I always did respect my mom for hosting Christmas dinner, but now I appreciate that it's a lot harder than I've ever given it credit.
But you cooked it the whole thing, right?
Yeah, but there was only 4 of us here, and I struggled with that.
There's only 4 of you.
Yeah, and the cat.
I feel like, oh, your cat. Right, hang on. Hopefully, this isn't like when you show like a picture of a baby and you have to get like copyright.
Oh no, Shelby's bird.
Make sure sign an NDA. This is your cat, and I took way too many photos of it.
Oh, he's so
hang on,
cute.
the glare is. Am I to do this with that? The glare. Can you kind of see that?
Oh, he's lovely. British blue.
So we have an outstanding bet. Well, not a bet, a deal.
Kelly will hear.
If you can convince Kelly to let me have a cat in California, I will give you. I think we got up to 1,000.
It went up. Yeah, it went up. It went up last week. Every time you petted Shelby, you were like 1,500.
I think it's very doable. But anyway, I travel too much, so I suppose Kelly will be looking after it. But it's times like this where I'm back in the UK for 3 weeks. What do you do with the cat? But anyway, I want one. And after meeting your cat, I've never met a cat like it in terms of the fur. It just felt like a...
It's like a rug, isn't it?
It was like a cat 2.0.
I know. He's exquisite.
Stunning.
But he eats everything. So you can't leave anything out. If I leave out like shortbread biscuits, he will eat them and then have the shits really bad. Or jam tarts. We left a creme brulee out last Christmas for like 5 minutes. We just forgot we'd put it on the side, and we went back in and he'd eaten like an inch off the top of a creme brulee and a lasagna. So,
well, hang on a minute.
He's not normal.
You've just reminded me. We were all feeding cheese.
Yeah, he's a human.
What's your cat's name again?
Shelby.
Shelby, of course. Yeah, what a name as well. Oh my god, it's like Peaky Blinders 2.0. The other thing we probably should mention. We're both from... Were you actually from the Cannock area originally?
No, I just unfortunately went to school there.
So where were you from originally? How do I not know this? Because I feel like you had the accent when I met you.
Yeah, I was more yam back then. So I'm from Lichfield. I lived in Burntwood for probably 10 years, and then I moved back to Lichfield.
Burntwood and then moved back to Lichfield. And then why did you get to Cardinal then?
Because I'm a Catholic.
Oh, hence the...
hence this. Yeah, I'm just off shift from the nunnery. So, yeah, we were put onto buses that took nearly an hour to get to school. It was a very highly rated school, to be fair. But
it was back in the day, but I feel like it went like downhill as time went on.
I didn't have fond memories of Cardinal Griffin, as you well know, except for Kelly and Hannah, who I'm still friends with.
You say that, fond memories. All I ever hear about when you three are together. I know when Kelly's on the phone to you, like, without fail. 1, because it's, like, constant laughter and doesn't make much sense. But 2, the stories are, like, in my opinion, in a polite way, about absolutely nothing. And you just make them into this incredible... For anyone who eventually listens, if ever, it's, like, one of those you had to be there moments, 100%.
All of them.
Because, I lose my mind with it, but I think it's hilarious, and I love that you guys love it, but I'm like, I've got no idea what you're on about. The most famous one being talking about when you were, like, farting in PE. It's just absolutely bonkers. The other big thing we should probably mention, again, why I think it would be great for us to do this. We're both big Villa fans.
Mm-hmm. 2-1 win
and I'd
today.
say probably... sorry, say again.
2-1 win today.
Yes, I know. I got my Villa top on. Yeah, stressful, of course. But I think it's funny, like, I would say since you started travelling to America as well, like, we talk now probably more about football than anything else.
Unfortunately for you, you are my only friend who supports Villa. So you get all of my Villa thoughts.
And a lot of your thoughts, I mean, I have to calm you down about it because I felt today, like, and there was a lag again today, so I was watching the game and you were giving me live updates, and
Did I spoil?
I didn't even want to look at my
I
didn't even want to look at my phone to say to you, please stop until half time because in case I saw something, but no, I love it. It's great. I love having someone to talk to about it. And also, I feel like you've got unconventional hours, and with this time difference, you'll just reply at random times, and I'm like, why is Laura awake? But I'm like, oh, it's Laura. She's always up.
I'm nocturnal. It's quite
Yeah,
bad.
which is great. Kelly tricked me into thinking she was nocturnal when we first met.
She's not.
She was talking to me at like 3 a.m. when we were at university, and I was like, yes, she's a keeper. And then literally we moved in together, and she starts getting up at 6 a.m. I was like, what are you doing?
6 a.m.
Yeah. But now it's flipped a little bit. She won't admit it, but I get up earlier than her for work, so.
Proud of you.
Anyway, drones, to get more serious, and you've probably not even listened to me talking about drones last time, so I'm guessing you're super prepared, but I know you'll have thoughts on it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like even when I posted it, literally within a day, more things had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's probably, if I give a little bit of an update as to the things that I've seen that have happened since, and then I'd absolutely love to get your thoughts on it, because for the last 2 times I've just talked to myself about it. It's been a bit weird.
Yes.
But I genuinely haven't formed a conclusion as to what it is. My suspicions keep changing every time. But so the first big one for me was Trump gave an interview, like literally, I don't know, let's say it's a week ago. We're in this weird period where our days have merged into one. So it was recently, and it blew my mind because he basically came out and he was asked, he was at his Mar-a-Lago, how'd you say that, do you know? No, his residence in Florida or whatever. And he was like, they asked him about the drones, and he's like, well, the military know where it is. They know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They know where it's landing. They know where it's taking off from. And he said, he genuinely said something like, there's something strange going on, and they're keeping you in suspense, the government. They won't say what it is. And that, to me, is just super weird, because I think when you're president-elect, you have to get briefed on certain events. So then the follow-up question was, have you been briefed on it in a classified setting or something like that? And he's like, I can't comment on that. So obviously flipping has. So that just changed. And what really pissed me off, because I did that podcast thinking, I've covered all of the topics. And within a day, it was like, well, Trump's now come out and said that the US government know what it is. And they're obviously denying that they know. So that was number one. That blew my mind. Number two, and again, I didn't think about this at all, which really pissed me off. This one has, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it, but this one in my mind has the most credibility, like, given what we've seen, is that some nuclear material or a weapon or something classified has gone missing, and the drones are actually the US government just surveying the area, trying to scan for it. New Jersey's a port city, so like there's loads of like inbound imports coming in all the time. So something could have easily come in through there. But for me, that made the most logical sense, because would you rather think there's flipping aliens flying around and people like, I think like, I'll come on to the social experiment thing, but if people were thinking that they're doing a social experiment, I think people are already a bit bored. They're like, if it's out there for long enough, people will stop questioning it. And that's happened with so many different examples I can think of. Would you rather them think that, or have mass panic right before Christmas that there's a rogue nuclear bomb or chemical weapon or dirty bomb, and that's what they're looking for? Like, that would have been chaos. So that was another crazy theory. So both of those in my mind were way more interesting than anything I talked about last time. And then the third one, and I know I'm going on a bit of a rant here, so I will shut up in a minute, but I feel like you haven't listened to the last one, so I feel like I've got to give you a bit of a spiel. US Congresswoman Nancy Mace, she had a classified briefing. She's done like lots of different briefings in the past 12 months. One of them was about UFOs or UAPs, sorry, and she was talking about all of that. But she was saying that some members of Congress have been briefed in a skiff as to what they're seeing, and she couldn't say, but she was on the news in the US, and she said the government don't know what it is, but importantly, what she was briefed, she can't say what they were, but they're saying that they're seeing 2 different things in the sky. And I know we've been texting about this, but so you've obviously got these drones, but then more recently, and there's even some clips that went on like the mainstream news and whatever, these orbs as well. And you said something about like plasma, so I'll get your thoughts on that as well. That's weird that there's 2 different things, and maybe it's the government and something else. There was another one. I'm going to check my notes. It's not just New Jersey anymore. Another military base was closed. Patterson Air Force Base, something like that. sightings in Ohio, San Diego, Camp Pendleton, which when you come to visit, we'll definitely drive through to get to San Diego.
Mhm.
So really close to where I live now, which is mental. And then the FAA, or I don't know what they're called, the flight regulation people have said no drones can fly in certain areas now in New Jersey. They've also done it in the UK around those RAF bases, and there's still drone sightings. That was that one, and then I got two more for you, and then I'm going to shut up and let you talk. The fake invasion theory, Project Bluebeam, was
Mm.
all the rage on the internet, like people going crazy with it. That I mean, it sounds so far fetched because I just feel like there's so many different three-letter organisations in the US. If they were all coordinated, I'd be amazed because of some of the stupid shit they do. Excuse my French, but Ronald Reagan, former president in the 80s, he was at the UN and he gave this speech and he was like talking about how divided we are as a world and all this kind of stuff. And he said, you'll have to find the clip on YouTube and watch it, but he said it may take some extraterrestrial threat to unite us as like one thing or whatever. So people have run with that, but there's all this leaked CIA stuff about Project Bluebeam, which is basically they're going to use these drones to basically fake an invasion to get everyone like aligned. That's one. That one's weird as shit. So we can talk about that one. And then lastly, and it's you who texted me about this because I didn't really cotton on, other than the fact that I saw it in the garden while I've been back, like the crazy fog,
Mhm.
not the crazy frog. I won't do it. I'm tempted now. um, so yeah, the weird fog, but apparently like it's been all over the US as well as in the UK. I'm like, but yeah, fog's just fog, and it's a shitty time of year. So,
Mhm.
but anyway, that was quite a weird one. But I know you text me about that. Anyway, just threw absolutely loads at you. So quite a lot of updates compared to what I'd talked about, which was like, could it be China, Russia, Iran?
Uh-huh.
Could it be a social experiment? Or could it be aliens or whatever? I genuinely have no idea what it is, and I don't think it's alien, even though I'm sat here with like a light and toy aliens. Excuse me. But what do you think?
I had to. I actually had to delete TikTok a couple of weeks ago because it was incessant and I was losing sleep over it. Not in a stressed or I'm scared way, but I just could not stop thinking about it. Like I was going crazy because TikTok was full of it. So I'm probably less up to speed on the conspiracies for now. But going back to point one about Donald Trump, I thought that was ridiculous because he said, I'm sure he said something along the lines of they're treating the general public like they're stupid. Maybe not to those words. And then when they said, "Well, do you know what it is?" He's like, "No, don't, no comment." Like, so he's as bad as everybody else. But he's making out
But,
that he's like for the people. I'll tell you all exactly what it is. But then he's like, "Nope, can't tell you."
but yeah, completely agree. And maybe it's just so. My prediction, I think the one prediction that I'd said before, I don't even know if I'd said it before, was come January 20th when he's elected,
Mm.
all the drones will miraculously just stop to stop him being able to talk about it. Because some of the appointments that he's made as part of him coming into office, a lot of them can't even speak, pro transparency on UAPs.
Hmm.
Some of the people, I've sent you so much crap, and I've got a list of stuff that I can talk through at the end. But all these whistleblowers to Congress and stuff, and all these congresswomen and men who've been like, and senators who've been like pushing for it. He's appointed them to quite senior positions, so I think he's going to say something on it.
Mm.
But he's also been very cautious about it. He was on Rogan, Joe Rogan, before the election. Trump and Rogan asked him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to that stuff. But what I will say is, there's some very high up military RAF, not RAF, Air Force people in America look like Tom Cruise." He goes on this speech about how beautiful they look. You know what he's like. He calls it a weave. He goes off on a tangent and then brings it back. And he's saying like they categorically have said that they see things in the sky that they don't understand.
Hmm.
And I just wonder whether, I don't know, it feels like, and I've gone down the rabbit hole with this way too much, like kind of what you just described with TikTok. I'm reading it and listening to podcasts all the time. It feels like we're closer than ever to some form of disclosure. And that, it felt, no one else seemed that bothered about it. But like, for me, that Trump thing was like a watershed moment. He's like saying the government are taking the piss out of you, basically.
Yeah. That's what I think is bothering me the most is that no one else cares about it. That when I talk to people about it other than you, they look at me as if I'm crazy. And I'm like, you're so desensitized to the stuff that's happening that you don't care anymore. And that's fine. We'd rather that than be stressed. But disclosure, I think, would actually be a very bad thing because governments don't disclose things that could give them any advantage in anything, not just like war, but just life. So if we get told anything about this, that means something's going down. That probably humans have caused, to be honest, not anything
And
else. But
also, I feel like because they've not told us for so long, and we're talking, and I'm going down the alien route here rather than just the drones, but like, because they've not told us for so long, and there's been so many cover-ups that then been, I guess, uncovered somewhat, that I think there's something really sinister to it that
same.
warrants them not telling us.
Yeah.
Or, oh, sorry, you froze. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Or going back to like the war thing, it's like we don't want to disclose how far we are ahead with the technology that we've recovered or anything else versus China or Russia. But it is really weird. It's like if disclosure, there's in my head, there's got to be something really sinister to it because otherwise another nation would just declare it.
Agreed. Or they would be keeping it secret, they wouldn't be using it. So, on your point about the nuke or a dirty bomb or something coming in, if it is advanced scanning technology or mapping technology that can look for people or bombs, and it's like incredible technology, they're only revealing that to the public because something seriously bad was heading for the public. But
Yeah,
what and why?
honestly, I don't know, and I find it so strange. And then the fact that there was like these videos of the orbs, and I was really skeptical at first because if you zoom in, especially on an iPhone, I've just realised how bad
It's so
cameras are on
bad.
iPhones. Like, I go on the internet and people are like, "Oh God, is this the best footage you can get?" Like, people are filming it from like the 1970s. I'm like, guys, like, if you stick an iPhone in the sky, if I go outside and do it now, it is so bad you can't make out a thing. Um, I will say some of the Samsungs. My friend, he pulled up outside the other night, and I was in the living room talking to my mom, and he's waiting to pick me up, and he's like 35 meters away, and he zoomed into the living room of my house from his car, and you could see my facial expression. I was like, so there are some cameras anyway. But long story short, like those orb things that I was really confused about. Some of them are like, I mean, they're zoomed in enough that it's not just like a pixelation. There's something weird in the sky that I just can't get my head around. And then I've seen like somewhere there's like a drone going over to the orb and touching it and then falls and all sorts of weird stuff. So I really don't know. It feels to me like the government 100% knows something.
The orbs
That
scare me because obviously, like you say, you can't trust what you see online and you don't know, is it a bad
no,
camera or is it just fake? But that does really scare me because I'm not exactly that clued up on space and physics, but
no, not me.
floating plasma, as people are calling it, I don't even know what it even is. Like what it's hard to even like when I googled it because I didn't understand what when people were commenting that looks like plasma, and I googled it, it didn't really help me understand what plasma is.
But even so, why would it be like in the sky
Exactly.
moving?
Yeah.
It's defying like we don't understand whatever it is. Now the drones, like, look, I go back and forth. Like it could definitely be China, it could be Russia, it could be a foreign state actor. But going back to like the when they shot down the air balloon
Yeah.
like last year, like I don't know why they wouldn't do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like
Rightly so. If you've got something in
yeah,
airspace, they dispatch F-45 jets to anything that approaches airspace that shouldn't be there in the UK and the States.
they did it the other day. I don't know if it was Christmas Day. RAF had to scramble for some Russian
Scramble,
thing,
that's
and
the
they do it
word.
all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, say
I
again.
was just saying scramble's the word. I was thinking, what's the word?
Scramble.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, completely. So I think it's some. Yeah, so that's really weird. But also, why would you be risking showing your hand with technology that you've got? Because some of these, like, I'm convinced probably 80% of it's just people flying shit to like get confused and people getting on like the hype and so many fake videos and AIs scare the shit out of me. But there is something to it that is so weird. But it's more the cover up aspect. So my prediction is, and this is not me saying what the drones are, but I said it to Kelly the other night. I am convinced that because I don't think we talked about the James Webb Telescope, but it's all over the internet if you look. Like, there was a meeting, a classified meeting, based on something they'd found on the James Webb Telescope, which is the big one that they put in the sky
Oh,
that
really?
can see further than ever. Like,
Yeah.
there was the Hubble telescope, and now there's the James
Mhm.
Webb, and they've found something, but it was a classified meeting, and I'm like, well, if it's classified, it's one of two things: something's coming, like an asteroid that's going to blow the shit out of us, or second of all, they've found some form of life. So I think 2025 is going to be an announcement that they've discovered life somewhere. It might be microbial or something weird, and they might just say they don't know what it is. But I almost think that's enough to start the chain of events, just to get people into it. I don't know if it's a generational thing now, but I don't think people are as bothered. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but like my Instagram, unless I'm looking for it now,
Mhm.
like it's not coming up as much. And I'm still talking about it. I know my phone listens to me,
Mhm.
but I feel like there's some weird censorship going on.
I don't see anything. I know I've deleted TikTok, but Instagram, like I still look at Facebook and Instagram every now and then. I'm seeing absolutely nothing at all. Nothing in the news. Nothing on like WhatsApp. People aren't messaging. Oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Just it's just no one gives a shit at all.
But I think that's a real pro for some form of disclosure, because I
Mhm.
think people are like less phased by things now. You see things and you're like, oh, okay. Whereas I don't think it would cause. I mean, it might cause mass panic if they like went full out. Oh, it's this. It's angels. It's
Yeah.
demons. It's like, don't do something bad, otherwise they're going to blow you up. Even if they just said, look, there is something that's here or been interacting with us, we've kept it super secretive because they asked us to, which I don't even know. They might not even communicate with it, or they don't know. But I feel like step one, my prediction is, and I need to have a bet with someone, that they will say something about the James Webb Telescope has seen something.
Hmm.
And it might just be as simple as that
Because
to start with.
microbes would be very underwhelming. I think
Yeah, that's
most
fair.
people are just under the assumption that there is life of some sort out there. It's just whether or not they believe there's intelligent life that we would call alien.
What's the star guy called? Not this star guy. The British guy. He looks like he could be an Oasis
Oh, Brian
with his hair.
Cox.
Brian
Yeah.
Cox. Right. He did a podcast with Joe Rogan. God, I'm saying his name a lot, but anyway, he has interesting guests. Um, and he was on there, and he was saying like the chances of life evolving into what it is now, like to have that kind of intelligence, is like maybe really, really slim within our
Hmm.
galaxy.
Hmm.
I'm like, well, that's fine. That is fine, but the math doesn't math. I got corrected on this the other day. I was talking about it last night because math is American versus maths. But I was like, well, the saying isn't maths doesn't maths. Anyway, so but the math doesn't math because there's so many galaxies, like an infinite number.
I know. I know. I read a Stephen Hawking book on this. I can't remember what it was called now. It was like a beginner's 10 questions about the universe. I can't remember what it's called, but it was brilliant. And that one of the chapters basically explained how it is mathematically not impossible, but so small that life like this exists elsewhere because of the fact that life on Earth advanced so weirdly rapidly before our sun's blown up. So it should, I can't remember what billions of years it is, but our sun's only got like 10 billion years left, and it takes
Right.
it takes typically, which we don't know, this is all theory, but it should take like 14 billion years for life to evolve, but to our like intelligence. But it's happened on Earth so many times because of all of the different wipeouts that have happened in the past. So something is weird on Earth with that, but I'm sort of in the camp that surely it exists elsewhere because, like you say, billions and billions and billions and billions. Have you seen those videos where it's like, this is how many stars there are in the galaxy, and it's like grains of salt filling an Olympic-sized swimming pool, and then it zooms
Yeah,
out, and it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is how many there are in the universe, and then the swimming pools just become like infinite, and you can't even see the swimming pools, and it's like, oh my god, this is hurting my head.
He did so. Two things on that. One that you should. Well, I say go down the rabbit hole with, but don't because it might stress you out. Is so Graham Hancock and the archaeological world has tried to like destroy him for trying to put an alternative view of history out. He's wrote a few books like Fingerprints of the Gods and different things, which I've not read. I've only read clips of, or seen clips of him talking about it. But he's done a Netflix show recently. He got mainstream and did Ancient Apocalypse. And he goes on Rogan. He's been on a few things.
Yes. Yeah.
He thinks that one of these wipeouts has happened and we've just lost a part of our history. Because, I mean, and then he talks about like the Sphinx and different things that have been found. And civilization as we know it, the record of it seems to be getting older and older and older as we dig more. And we're having to rewrite history, and the archaeologists don't want to rewrite the history because of the effort and the claims and all sorts of politics involved with that. But I thought that was fascinating. And he talks about like an advanced civilized. So I'm crazy right now. I'm looking outside and there's like a flashing light. I'm like, ooh, is it a drone? It's probably just a helicopter and it's in a cloud, so I can't even tell what's going on. If you're a drone, please come over and make this go viral. That'd be wonderful.
And it could be the next hotspot.
Oh shit, where was I going with that? What was I talking about? Graham Hancock. Ancient. Oh, so that was it. So he was saying like, just because there was an ancient advanced civilization doesn't necessarily mean they evolved to have like phones and Wi-Fi and stuff like that. Like it could have been totally different. So like, I don't know if you remember Nikola Tesla, that crazy scientist guy. Like he experimented with like electricity just passing through the air, and it's a good job it didn't, because like we wouldn't be where we are today or whatever. But like, there's so many ways in which we could have evolved that are different that wouldn't leave as much of a trace.
Yeah, that is
anyway,
true.
that got deep really quick. Sorry.
That is because that's what a lot of the drone conspiracies are. That it's the ancient civilizations coming up from underwater, and they've been there happily for years and years and years, and then now they're finally coming up. And I'm like, oh gosh.
I feel like I've subconsciously, one of the reasons I moved to San Diego is because it's a hotspot. So and obviously you're going to come and visit what's the island? The Catalina Island. So that was in a documentary recently, but apparently that gets loads of talk like on the internet in the crazy world.
Oh, I can't wait.
But then the Tic Tac UFO, I think it's the Tic Tac one.
Oh yeah, that one's so creepy.
With the USS Nimitz, whatever it was, like an aircraft carrier. And then the guy, David Fravor, who was the pilot of the Air Force plane or whatever, he's testified to Congress, and he's like, this was at 80,000 feet. He went down to sea level and back up and stuff. That case is mental, right? But that happened in San Diego as well.
Really?
So now I'm like walking along like an idiot, like just looking at the sky. I'm like, I just want to see something, and I haven't seen shit. It's pissing me off.
Hopefully you will. Because there's
Have you seen anything?
I haven't, not for a long time. I think the only time I thought I saw something, I think it was Starlink or whatever it is. I got really excited when I saw it, and then it was Starlink, I think. But no, it's too cloudy here. I haven't seen anything because I haven't seen the sky at night.
No.
For months. So no, but pilots have. I've heard a lot of pilot transcripts on TikTok. Again, they need fact checking that they're real.
No, I know.
But there's so many of them that, like, where they're buzzing through to traffic control saying, what's this in the sky? And they're like, we've had loads of reports, but we've got no sighting on radar, don't know what it is. And they describe it as zipping 20,000 feet, just moving crazy speeds. And to think they closed Gatwick Airport because of one small civilian drone, but this shit's in the sky and we're allowed to get on jets and it's not a threat. I just don't get it.
Whatever it is, regardless of me dreaming it would be aliens, and that's probably a scary thing if it was. I'd probably freak out if I met one. But like, there is just something being hidden, which I just think is weird, which in my mind just goes to this like deep state type thing that I think we might have talked about over a beer before, like that there are people in the US government and in other governments as well. So I'm looking in the sky at this drone, which is definitely an airplane, but
is it still there?
It's got the red and white. It's got this red white flashing. It's a plane just flying into Birmingham. Probably, I'm just being stupid, but I just like to dream. But yeah, I think. Oh no, I don't know where I was going with that. My brain's gone. I said to my mom, this is the weirdest thing, and she really took me by surprise the other night. And this has got very alien-y because I'm clearly obsessed. But I said to my mom, have you ever seen anything? And she goes, oh, well, Ben, I did see something once. And I was like, what? Like, my mom's like the most religious Christian on the
Your mom
planet. And
wouldn't
she's,
lie or exaggerate.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Have you met my mom?
No, but I know she would be telling the truth, hand on heart, if she described seeing something.
Have you met her at like a gig or anything like that? Because they would come every now and then.
I don't think I have, because to be honest, before I went to Chicago, I only met you about 3 times.
I've probably seen you more since I moved to
Yeah, I
America.
think we have. It's so funny.
Yeah, that is weird. So she says to me, oh, I was a child and it was at my nan's house, and then it just brought back memories in my head. I'm very nostalgic at the moment being home.
Aw.
I'm an emotional bag of balls. But so she goes, oh yeah, I was in the bedroom and I was looking out the window and it was night time and clear as day, even though it was night time, so it wasn't clear as day. She was like, this grey alien walked across the window,
Oh.
but she's on the second floor. I'm like, Mom, like, and she was telling me this, and I was like, man, have you had a drink? Like this
Yeah.
is so not you. But she was
Oh.
adamant. She was like, this is what they call the greys. I was like, Mom, how do you even know this? You don't go on set. Well, she painfully tries social media. I was like, how have you heard of the greys or anything like this kind of stuff? The aliens, weird stuff. But anyway, so she swears she saw something. She says she wasn't like imagining it or anything like that. I was like, right, okay.
That is
But
creepy.
it was just super creepy. I was like, for my mom to say that, who's like the biggest Christian on the planet, and obviously I'm biased, but the kindest soul. Like,
She saw something, for sure.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean, she's gone. She won't mind me saying this. She's gone weird about like Harry Potter in like the last few years because she doesn't like the magic and wonder of it, even though it's like I'm obsessed, as you know. So I'm like, for her to admit that she then saw that, I was like, Mom, that is weird.
Yeah.
So it threw me off.
See,
Anyway, I've seen nothing, and it's pissing me off.
I think
Um,
the woman on the plane saw something. Do you know who I mean? Where
the woman on
she
the
got
you said
dragged.
this the other
She
day.
got dragged off the plane, and she was kicking off, going, "Get me off the plane! Get me off the plane!" She's like, "That motherfucker is not real." You must have seen it.
You've sent it me, and I can't remember
She
it.
went
I'm not.
viral, and she got taken off the plane, and she was going, "He wasn't real. He wasn't real." And then when she got interviewed afterwards, and she looked like a completely different person, she looked like she had nothing between the eyes. She was like, "I didn't see anything. I don't know what gone on that day." And the report was like, "Are you sure? You were really adamant you need to get off the plane?" She was like, "No, I didn't see anything." So
Drugs.
she saw something, and she's been told keep her mouth shut. I'm telling you, it wasn't.
There's loads of that though.
I believed it. The moment I saw it, I thought, she's not on drugs. She didn't look like she was on drugs. She didn't look like she was like crazy. She's not medically diagnosed with anything like schizophrenia. Like, she saw something on that plane and needed to get off.
But this is where it's a bit weird for me. So I always try and come at it like the whole thing in my head is I think there is a technology that exists that's been witnessed and released by the Pentagon, like the videos and the Tic Tac, the gimbal, something else, the Go Fast, different videos. There's something that exists that is far beyond the capabilities of what we know is possible. Whether it's the government, whether they found it, whether it's reverse engineered, whether it's always been here, I don't know any of that. I just know, and I have this dinner talk whenever I'm at like not client meetings, but when I'm with people from work, we always end up either talking about politics or me talking about aliens, and they all think I'm an alien crazy person. But all I ever admit to is that I think there's a technology,
Yeah.
like,
From,
and I
yeah.
don't know what the origin is. So then, when it's like eyewitness testimony, like you've just described, I am so skeptical because I'm like seeing is believing in my mind. And although there's some grainy videos out there, I'm like, this has been released by the Pentagon. It got leaked before they had to release it, and there's eyewitness testimony combined. That's when I'm like more. But what's weird is if you like go on even just on Google, the amount of UFO/UAP encounters, or even, I'm holding an alien. I'm going to look like the crazy guy. The amount of people that are talking about it. Sorry, the amount of people who have seen something, or the amount of people, even abductions and cow mutilations, all this weird stuff. I stay away from all of it because I just think no, they're all crazy. But there's far too many for it to be nothing.
I agree.
Or there's something in our brain that's like broken. And the other thing, I think you were telling me about the brain thing, where how the brain like throughout evolution was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it just had this like massive leap, and no one can explain why.
I think, well, I think it was RNA and DNA which caused the massive leap in life, going from just microbes and cells to having, what do they call us, like sentient beings or conscious, like that was what
Yeah,
caused
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then our brains getting bigger. I think that was a different conversation about how we all like, that's why we have all like bad breathing and cold and stuff, because we've evolved backwards with our brains taking up too much space in our skull. But
That was it.
even with that, we don't use like hardly any of our brains. So if someone somewhere has, what's like IVF, when you can pick like different things, or like, I don't think it's necessarily called IVF when you pick genders, but
IBS.
yeah, that's me. But if they've managed to, and Stephen Hawking talks about this in his book as well, that if we selectively choose the DNA to create a human, it like breed them in that way and like take the bits of our brain that aren't being used, so it is being used, like it would be out of control how intelligent a human would be, and
Oh,
inferior humans that are left behind would stand no chance. So if that has taken place, like it could be that it's not alien at all and it's genetically modified eggs or sperm to unlock our brain power, like it could be something like that.
but there's loads of theories about that online, that this sudden advancement. So the brain was getting bigger in size throughout apes,
Hmm.
Neanderthals, everything else, and then all of a sudden it just like got a lot bigger. And I think it's what you're. Well, I don't think. God, I don't know what I think, and that really
Yeah,
annoys me. Like,
same.
I'm fascinated by all of it, but I've got no different. I'm not like a diehard believe in anything to do with it, because I just
Mm.
don't know. Apart from the technology thing that I was talking about, but like if that has happened, that makes sense in my mind. It's kind of like that film. Is it Lucy? The one with Johansson in it, Scarlett Johansson, and like it
Oh.
accesses more of the brain power.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I have heard of it.
Watch that; that'll blow your
Mm.
mind. But then the other thing that I was listening to, and again, was it that Brian Cox dude or was it someone else?
I love
Um,
Brian Cox.
yeah, no,
He's
he's
so
great. He
intelligent.
annoyed me. He annoyed me when he tried to like shit on the aliens, like that they're just so rare. I was like, stop. But no, his podcast with Joe Rogan's great, and it made me feel really unintelligent. It annoyed me.
Mm.
I was like, how can I do a podcast talking about anything, because I just don't research. I'm just not smart enough. But the one thing, I don't know who I was listening to. Well, probably wasn't him. You know these quantum computers.
Oh yeah,
So I don't know if I sent you anything on this, but this is where my mind has gone. I don't know how we got from drones onto this, but I'm obsessed with aliens.
it
So
is
there you
all
go.
linked. It is all linked.
It could be exactly, yeah. But so the quantum computer thing, we're getting to the point now where we've got these computers that can solve things like infinitely impossible that humans couldn't solve. Google are looking to invest in nuclear power plants just to run these computers.
Oh.
And there was something weird about it, basically saying that these computers can do the math that they can do, the maths that they can do so quickly is like bigger than the universe. So it proves that there's a multiverse, so different dimensions, which blew my mind. That didn't make. I still don't know what that means, but where I was going with that is they're saying once they connect that computer to AI, and I showed you Meta AI. I don't think it's come out in the UK yet, but
Mm.
it created the podcast logo,
Mm.
like just by typing a few words. You start connecting a more advanced AI than flipping Meta AI, Chat GPT point 7, whatever, to that computer. All of a sudden, maybe you've created like a conscious something, or like if you think about, and again, this is another Joe Rogan podcast, so I need to stop going on about it. If you think about like humans, like eventually where we'll end up, like how we've evolved in the last 200 years alone, just in terms of like technology and stuff, we're unlike anything else on the planet in that we're obsessed with creating things.
Mm.
Like if you were to say, what's humans' purpose? Oh, it's to reproduce. I'm like, well, it's almost become like a side quest.
Hmm.
It is like, but like you do that, but there's so much more. It's not your sole purpose. A bear gets up and it's like, oh, I'm gonna eat
Yeah,
like some berries today, and I'm gonna take in the view. I'm gonna scratch my ass on a tree. I
that's
hibernate.
a great life, to be honest.
But then I'm like, but humans are just obsessed with making the next big thing. So like, why do we always want the next iPhone? We just can't stop making and evolving. And eventually, the technology is going to become. It's not just a smartwatch. It's going to be in our brains, which they're already doing with like Neuralink and all that kind of stuff. Eventually, like are we going to need big muscles? And not that I've got any big muscles, but are we going to need muscles? So then you start evolving. You want big eyes so you can see more shit. You want a bigger skull for more brain, but you don't need a big body because. And then all of a sudden you get fucking aliens. Anyway, I've
It's
gone down the alien rabbit hole way too much.
AI is like humans creating that. It could be the end of us. Like if it
There's
becomes so
Skynet.
advanced.
It's the Terminator. You've seen the Terminator.
Yes. Oh, not for years, but yeah, and like Black Mirror stuff. It's just oh, I don't. It's interesting how you say about needing bigger eyes to process things because that's something else that's happened with our sort of evolution that's fast tracked us. So because we when you go to sleep, I can't remember if it's REM or deep sleep, but that's where your brain starts to remember what you've read and learned that day. It goes into long term memory. So we now see too much. We see too much information, like on our phones, screens, whatever. That we can't do that anymore. However, because we have laptops and like books especially, that's why we're like so clever in the last 200 years because we're still leaning on stuff that people from 200 years ago learned, but because we've learned to communicate it and document it. Whereas like bears can't communicate to another bear, don't go down that river because you'll fall down and die. Like that's what sort of another thing that sped us up so much. But if you think of that curve, it's exponential in our growth of knowledge. AI is like vertical and it's just gonna wipe us out. It's gonna be mad.
AI in the next 5 years will be more than we've learned in the last 200. I think you'll just say to it like, "Hey, I just think it'll like crack like fusion and like energy sources and different things that we've never been able to think of, or like ways of governing, for example, that are just mental.
But I hope it does some sort of energy source because I'm honestly not too big of a fan of it, and this point links into the fog. So
Okay.
ChatGPT and any of the AIs use so much energy, it's disgusting. Like the amount of like energy required when we're like trying hard as individuals to turn off lights and turn our TVs off. Like it's mad. And I had a meeting with a client the other day, and he used AI to do a simple like calculation, like 10 times 17 or something. And I thought, and it took like 3 seconds to process. I was like, just use Excel or whatever. So I'm not a fan on the energy point of it because if like you're saying, Google needs to create nuclear power plants to fund their quantum computer, like that's great, but global warming is quite bad at the moment. And we like in trying to get more knowledge and be more creative, we are destroying ourselves.
Yeah. I No, I hear you completely, and what I think's so this in my mind links back to like the technology piece. Like I said that I think there's that technology that exists, and they're trying to maybe a lot of the stuff that's flying in the sky is the government. They just haven't reverse engineered it. They're just flying it around trying to figure out or whatever. Like it might not always be whatever they found or wherever it came from, or if they just made it themselves, whatever. But they've got no propulsion. They've
Yeah.
they're manipulating gravity in some way or doing something which is almost like unlimited energy. And then I come back to okay, well, so they always oh god, what's it called? You know the stealth bomber, the one that's like a big black triangle in the US. Like you'll have seen them like maybe fly over like an NFL game once upon a time. That was like cloaked in secrecy for like 30 years before it became common knowledge. And people keep arguing, oh well, that's what this technology is, and eventually we'll know. I'm like, well, it's been at least since 1947 or whenever it was with Roswell, like, and arguably before. There's loads of other cases or whatever, like 80 years. So they haven't cracked it in my mind.
Yeah.
But like, even if they had, and this is where I always get to at a dinner table, and people then tell me to shut up because it's like I think capitalism and the way in which the Western world works, like energy companies have so much influence, and like even like with electric cars, for example, we've got to transition. We could have transitioned to electric cars. Maybe we couldn't with the batteries, but a more efficient version of a car, like 10 years ago or whatever, we should be doing it right now at a much more rapid pace. But it's been slowed down so that the people in power, aka the energy companies, can stay in power. If I invent something tomorrow that is almost infinite energy that someone can put in their home, capitalism and the way of doing things the way they are is like completely ruined.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so that's where my head goes. I'm like, okay, so that's why they're not. Why would you say it? Because you lose all control. If energy wasn't, because it dictates so much stuff. Like, there's a guy, and I'm going to butcher this, so I'll have to Google it afterwards. But there was a guy or a woman who created a car that ran solely on water
Oh, the hydrogen.
or
No,
hydrogen or something like
no,
that,
it was water, but I think it converted to hydrogen. But it was like safe and emission free, and wasn't he
and
shot
they
dead or something, or just
disappeared,
yeah,
and we've never seen the technology since.
yeah.
In my head, that's where this goes. Like, so I think the technology exists, and I think we're close, but that's why no one wants to disclose it, because whoever gets it, in my mind, wins. Like, completely wins. But I just don't know if they'll ever be able to release it. Anyway, that's where my head goes. So
Oh,
that one gets me. Back to drones. If you had to say what you think it is, and there's no right or wrong answer because I haven't got a flipping clue. Well, my iPad just died, so I was going to ask you some questions, but there you
that's
go.
right. I think. Oh, I don't know. I do think it is the government deep down. I think
Okay.
I think it's a very advanced tech that they're using for a reason. But then this is why I doubt my own decision here, because I mentioned this to you when we chatted earlier about the Chinese drone show at New Year, and it's phenomenal. And like we watch that as citizens and like, oh wow, isn't that amazing? And then see one drone in the sky and think, oh, it's aliens and something's coming to get us. But it's just weird, just the size of the drones that we were seeing. And then I don't know. Deep down, I think it's the government. We already know drones exist, and they're testing the waters to to have surveillance on us all the time and just
Okay.
be Big Brother, basically.
Yeah. But I think they've got the Big Brother thing though. I think they've got that anyway with the way in which they listen to phones, the way
True,
in which satellite imagery. I think they no one can move anything on the chessboard now without someone knowing what's going
but
on.
I think still to a point where like you wouldn't expect your phone to be bugged unless there was like a warrant or a legitimate reason that you were being watched. Whereas like you go to certain countries and cameras and things actually watching you all the time, that is a real thing. Sometimes it is like a literal Black Mirror episode. So I don't know. I think it's like a soft launch of well, just watching you all the time to keep us safe. They'll say from the bombs that are coming in shipping containers and stories like that, which may or may not be true. Like I don't doubt that could happen. Like there's enough threats in the world for you know things to happen. But what do you think?
One just one thing will be really interesting. Like, hopefully we do this again and watch our phones for the next 2 weeks because my phone's right next to me now, and all the shit that's going to come up on like our adverts and stuff. Like, it'll just be really weird given the conversation we've just had.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if like surveillance cameras come up because
Mm,
even just anyway. So that one. The only thing that I would say like. And I think I'm with you. Like, it's definitely the government in part, whether it's the government in full or whether it's China and the US doing some weird game
mm,
that's going on that's weird. The orb things make me think something weird is going on as well. But the one thing with the drones that's on my mind is like they are conventional. They're not showing. The orbs are
the
weird, but
orbs
the
are weird.
drones aren't showing anything that's like really
No,
unconventional. They're staying up there for a really long period of time. Some of them are really large. The heat signature stuff, they can't seem to track them. There's something weird to it, but I'm like, that's not beyond the realms of
no.
possibility, even just given the commercial use of drones in China, as you've just described. And I think China are ahead on the drone aspect because I was listening to something about how regulations are different in the US compared to China. China are just going full steam ahead with it. So I think it's in part the US government um, and something sinister. I don't think the drones are alien, but the one theory we didn't really talk about is, and remind me, Super Bowl. It'll just trigger it in my mind in a minute. My brain's not working properly, but um, the where was I going with that? But over the last however many years, all these different sightings of like flying discs, the Tic Tac, the gimbal, the Go Fast, and we've just not got anywhere in terms of actually figuring out what it is.
Hmm.
What if whatever this is, non-human intelligence from under the ocean that's always been here, or wherever it is, what if they're like, oh god, we need to start making ourselves look like something that they'll recognise? So we're just going to fly drones around all the time to get people used to us, and that eventually, like, we'll crack it and be like, oh, that isn't ours. Whose is that kind of thing? So that one plays on my mind a little
Yeah.
bit. And what did I say to you? Super Bowl? Why did I say Super Bowl? So have a look. Go on YouTube at last year's Super Bowl and watch the adverts during the big halftime show.
Oh, okay.
Three of them, I think it's three of them. It's definitely two. There might have been three. Relate to aliens, and it's just
Oh,
weird.
but wasn't
I don't know
it
if it was.
in Vegas though? The Super Bowl last year, was it in Vegas?
Don't know, but I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I think it was. It was,
Don't know.
but sorry, it's really loud, wasn't it? So the weird one, I think, let's say it was Martin Scorsese. I'm probably butchering this. Someone made an advert, right, and it's basically flying discs flying around over like New York City or whatever, and they're landing in front of people, and people are like just looking at their phones and not looking up, and like it's really really weird, and they're like knocking on the window, like why can't these guys flipping see us? And it was just the weirdest thing that
Oh.
was like a Super Bowl ad of choice. So I thought that was a bit weird. Anyway,
We're being
so there you go. That's what I
desensitized
think.
to everything.
It was just weird, is what I'm going to say. Just watch the Super Bowl advert. So I remember texting my mates at the time. I was like, "That's a bit weird, isn't it?" And everyone, and I was like, "Ah." But again, we're just so oblivious, and I think we'd be. I don't know. I think we're. Anyway, I don't know. To answer your question, I think it's in part the US government. The orb thing, I need to see probably a little bit more to believe something either
It's a
way.
whole
I just
kettle
know
of
it's
fish.
weird,
Mm.
and they're hiding something.
Hmm.
That's the weird part. So I haven't come to any conclusion other than that. But on the alien piece, there's a technology. I'm definitely standing by that.
The orbs are so interesting because in like some of the theories I've seen about have you seen Interstellar
Oh yeah,
and
that's
like
insane.
the wormhole they travel through to get like some people are saying like ridiculous stuff like that the orbs are wormholes from interstellar galaxies. I'm like if that was true, that would actually be like insane.
What, and the drones are coming through them?
Yeah, but I don't believe it. I don't think the
No,
plasma or
no, no.
whatever it is, if it's real, is anything like that. But imagine if it was.
I don't want to imagine if it was. Like, I was thinking, I was lying in bed. Oh god, no! Now I'm going to sound like the crazy alien person. I was lying in bed the other week, and I was thinking about what if an alien landed on the back garden, and it's like, "Do you want to come with?" And I'd be like, "What would I say to Kelly?" Because Kelly would be like, I'm sure she'd be like, "I ain't going," but I'd want to go just to find out. But then they're probably going to probe me and do some weird stuff, like.
No, don't go,
But I
babe.
think
If someone lands
I'd
in your
like to.
back garden, the chances are it's probably not someone you can trust.
Yeah. But I'd want to know. I'd like to think that my instinct would be I'm ready to like elevate my consciousness and be really like blown away by something. But the chances are, I think just nature and fear would set in, and I would like go and hide in the bathroom or do some like I'd really freak out. But anyway, that was on my mind.
Just don't feel like
Um,
we've got the not the intelligence, but the mental capacity to grasp what is out in the universe. Really,
no, 100%, and that's when it
yeah.
links back for me when I talked about the quantum computing and the AI.
Mm.
That's going to be able to comprehend things that we just can't get our head
Oh.
around and can't picture. So it's so weird. Anyway, definitely been some sort of what's the right word censoring of information. Like BBC commented on the RAF stuff, like very limited, and it's still happening over Lake and Heath now. And there's nothing on the news.
Nothing.
I actually think, and this maybe relates back to being transatlantic, so to speak. As much as I initially thought that the US news agencies or whatever, it was way more corrupt because it's so much more opinion based. You turn on Fox and you know they're like Republican.
Mm-hmm.
You turn on NBC or whatever and it's the other way. I don't know if that's actually better because you know what you get. And I think the BBC is subtly just manipulating people and
Don't
picking and choosing
don't get me started
topics.
on the BBC.
It's mad.
It's terrible. We're told
COVID
we're
ended
told
overnight
yeah,
with
literally
BBC.
we're
Sorry,
told
I
what
took
they
over.
want us to hear. Like it's not news. It's not news. I think Twitter or X now and TikTok are the most reliable. If it's real people posting real videos, is the most reliable source of like instant news.
instant truth.
But they
But
hate it. They don't want us to use platforms like that.
I, I want to agree with you, but at the same time, I also think it's like instant manipulation
That's true.
because I honestly don't know what to believe when I look at them. I just have to believe in the source a little
Mhm.
bit first. Like if it's someone that I've been following for a while on like social media, I'm like, okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
But some of the stuff that gets circulated, oh, new drone spotted in China, and then it's like you can see an English pub in the background. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
there's a lot of that going on. One thing, you know, what I'm really impressed about. We've done an hour,
Oh my
which
god.
when I did those 2 podcasts on my own, I was like, how on earth will I ever do something that's longer than 30 minutes? This is so difficult. What I thought I would do is I made a list. If anyone's like more interested in it than us, because we haven't done any research really, it's just our opinions. I listed down all of the things that I've been listening to and all the things that I think are quite interesting with probably more so the alien topic than the drones. But all of these people actually are talking about the drones as well because they're trying to get to the bottom of it.
Mm.
So I'm just going to shout them all out to the people. I say people, the 3 people who've watched so far: my mom, Kelly, and a guy from work. And Matt, you've probably seen 10 seconds.
I'll post
As
a
we first start.
snippet of it onto my TikTok. I'll re-download it and post a snippet to TikTok with the link.
Well, you're TikTok famous.
Well, quite.
You are. When you told me about that, I was like, "What the hell?
I
How have you
know,
done this?" And
but no
that
one,
doesn't surprise
no
me.
one likes my videos or watches them. So I think they're like ghost followers.
But so you've got followers, but you don't get views.
Yeah, but that's what TikTok's like. It's the algorithm's very ruthless.
Well, it's owned by China, isn't it?
Well, yeah, they
I think.
yeah.
Anyway,
But anyway, yeah. Sorry, say your name.
no, you're fine. You're fine. No, TikTok's. I haven't got TikTok because you know how stupid I am. I'm such a performer. I just thought I'd end up making stupid videos, and I'm trying to be a professional in my job, and I just think people think I'm an idiot. I had TikTok for a week when it years ago, and I started making these silly videos, and I was like, I found myself like dancing to my phone. I was like, oh my god, what is wrong with me? Stop! This is stupid. So I installed it when you said that you were on there, so I just had a quick look, but I haven't been on since. I've weirdly morphed into just Instagram. I don't really post on Facebook. They're kind of linked, Instagram and Facebook. So if I post on one, it goes on the other. But have I lost you?
Be careful with TikTok because you'll go on it for 30 seconds and 3 hours will go by.
Well, I think I told you the story of me being on my own for the first 6 months of the pandemic because Kelly got stuck in England. So all these things that I'm going to list off now, it all started from then, and now I'm borderline obsessed. But I go through these phases where I have to like just step away and be like I've got too much day-to-day stuff, but it's also nice escapism as well. So you've got the Tic Tac event, the gimbal, and the Go Fast. They all got leaked, and then videos got declassified from the Pentagon. Read around those 3, the imaginary people that are listening. Those 3 are really good. You've got 2017. You've got the UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon article in the New York Times, which seems to have moved us forward loads in terms of people being interested in the topic rather than being ridiculed. You've got Ryan Graves. I don't know if he was the gimbal footage or the Tic Tac. I get confused. He was a military pilot. He's been on Rogan. He's been on loads of podcasts. He's now started like a non-profit going after this. He's created like a forum for pilots to talk on.
Oh, that's mad.
There's rumours that he might get a position in Trump's government, which would be awesome.
That would be good.
So he's one. He testified to Congress. So did David Fravor. He's the one with the Tic Tac, I think.
Yeah.
Those 2 are the most credible witnesses because if a pilot who is authorised to fly a jet that can carry a nuclear weapon is saying they've seen something that they can't explain, that's what blows my mind. So they're really good to look into. You got David Grush, who's a whistleblower, he's an intelligence officer. He also testified to Congress, and they tried to ridicule him just like that afterwards. But he's really interesting to listen to. He's gone quiet because I think he's waiting for more people to come out because he was out there on a ledge on his own. Lou Elizondo, I told you about that book to buy. I can't actually remember what the book... Imminent, I think the book was called. I'm not sure. That's a really interesting book. He took some weird stuff in there that like remote viewing. We'll talk about that another time. But he took some weird stuff in there. But a lot of it's around what we've been talking about. Bob Lazar is like the OG guy from the like late 80s who said he worked at Area 51, and that's where Area 51 came from, and blah, blah, blah. His story hasn't changed over like 30, 40 years, and 30 years? 30 years. And some things have came out since that kind of really reaffirmed some of the stuff he was saying. George Knapp, these are like journalists now. George Knapp, Ross Coulthard, Jeremy Corbell, James Fox, Christopher Mellon, Chris Sharp, and most of all those people that I've just said, like, if anyone wants to listen to it, most of them have been on Joe Rogan, or they've been on other podcasts, or they've been on, they're on YouTube, and they're on all sorts of stuff, and they're getting mainstream attention, like Netflix shows and different things. Really worth a listen. Anyway, if you're good, maybe we wrap up on drones, and I wanted to ask you a few light-hearted questions. I did this last time because I feel like I've gone down the rabbit hole and I need to bring it back to like some form of normality.
Yes, go for it.
Obviously, just had Christmas. Favourite Christmas song? Favourite Christmas food? Favourite Christmas gift?
Oh.
And I put you on the spot because I haven't thought about this either.
My favourite Christmas song is the one that goes. I don't know what it's called.
Well, you just did. I think that's not a Christmas song, isn't that Rockin' Robin? Twiddly diddly dee, twiddly diddly dee, twiddly diddly dee, dancing in the treetops.
No, it goes.
No?
I hear those sleigh bells.
Ding, ding, ding.
Maddie's looking at me at the other side of the room.
Hi, Maddie. What song is that? I know which one you mean. I don't know what the name
Maddie,
is.
what's it called?
I hear those sleigh bells jingling, ding, 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 dum, dum. Sleigh Ride Together With You. Sleigh Ride, maybe? I don't know what it's called.
I couldn't honestly tell you. It goes through my head the same way I made that horrible noise.
No, I got that. Well, I thought you were singing Rockin' Robin to begin with, but yeah. That's funny.
Sleigh Ride by the Ronettes.
There you go. Sleigh Ride. Ronettes are really cool. I think one of them died recently. Mine would be, I think it's actually just called Christmas. It's like the Christmas song. Christmas, the sun's going down.
Oh, yeah.
Loads of people have covered it. I think that's like the ultimate field song of Christmas. Or Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time by McCartney.
Really? You like that one?
I know. My dad peed me off the other day. I spoke to him and I was like, Dad, I remember this from our childhood, and you said you never liked the Beatles, but you always used to like this song. Did you know it was by Paul McCartney? Because I didn't until recently, and I've been singing it my whole life. He's like, yeah, why did I play that? I don't even like it. And I was like, always used to be. That's like the song of my childhood, like Christmas. So anyway, that was upsetting, but yeah, I like that one as well. Favourite Christmas food?
Oh.
/ condiment?
I don't know. Everything I have at Christmas, I would have on a standard roast.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe like people like make extra effort with the stuffing balls, like fresh pork and like maybe that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know what? Thinking about it, like I think it's in my head way more because we don't do roasts in America.
That's true. You can't get a good one.
So I've got gravy on my mind, but I've also got pigs in blankets. And cranberry sauce.
Controversially, don't like pigs in blankets.
Lord.
I love pork. I love pigs. Bacon, sausage, separate, but do not wrap them together. The texture's off.
Even the little diddy ones that are like crispy.
Horrible. Need to be
Shit,
separate.
oh Laura.
Because the sausage is like squishy and smushy.
Not if it's crispy.
No, I don't like.
No, all right, fair enough. Well, I'm going to go with pigs in blankets. You're going with stuffing balls. Okay. Oh God, I've just had the equivalent of a Christmas dinner. By the way, Tony just
another
cooked,
one.
I know, it was incredible. Actually, it was fantastic. But I've got like the sweats from it, so I need to take this quarter zip off and strip. But I'll do that after the
Oh, for the viewers.
Favorite Christmas gift
this year or in life?
Well, funnily enough, on my list it actually says fave Christmas gift this year. Then it says fave Christmas gift of all time. So you can do both.
Oh God, this is hard. I don't know if I can answer this.
Well, if you do like a dramatic pause of 20 seconds, I'll just crop it.
Does it have to be? Does it have to be 20 seconds?
No, I'm being sarcastic. If it takes you, as in take the time you need to think about it, I'll just edit it.
Oh, I get you.
You bum on.
Bum on.
I'm sweating now.
Favourite Christmas gift?
Maddie's sat there seething. She's like, I spent all this money on you and you can't think of anything.
I've had 4 Christmases. I can't even remember anything you got me, Maddie.
Laura, you bad person.
She got me, yeah, Ben, she got me packing cubes this year.
Packing cubes.
Yeah, so like when you pack your suitcase, you put all your evening wear in one cube and zip it up, and then all your daytime in one cube, zip it up. I was like, oh, thanks,
Cubes.
Maddie. Yeah, they're like little zip boxes. They
Okay,
are
that works.
handy. It did make me laugh when I opened them. I thought it was a jumper. Packing
Okay.
cubes.
Yeah, but you're doing a lot of travelling. So, how
Favorite Christmas gift? I really don't know.
about all time then?
I remember the absolute sheer joy when I opened my Xbox 360 when I was God knows how old.
I think that's
There
solid.
has to
Yeah.
be. I think because as an adult, we're so spoiled. That's why I couldn't answer the other one because I'm so spoiled. I can't pick one.
Yeah, I feel like we're at an age now where, like, especially, I mean, Kelly talk about this. We're fortunate enough, like, if we want something, unless it's super expensive,
Yeah,
like, we normally just buy ourselves it now. And like, I have to pinch myself from that compared to like university days.
yeah,
Like, so yeah, it is very hard. Well, while you think, I can say mine
yeah.
really
You say yours.
easily.
Go on.
Mine has to be the light. I set it up today. I think it's
Oh, did
awesome.
someone get you that?
Yeah. Kelly's auntie got it me. She
Oh,
text. She's insistent that she buys us something that we really like. So she asks what we want, and I'm like, I don't want anything. Like, and I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to fit anything in my suitcase. I don't want anything at all. I'm old now. Like, I don't need anything. And then I was like, well, I'm going to do this podcast, and I'm going to talk to Laura on this podcast. I'd love to have like a cool light. And then I started looking at like neon lights that you can get, customizable
oh,
ones. I
it's
was like,
class.
I can't make a Transatlantic Chinwag neon light that's like 300 quid when 3 people are listening. So I was like, maybe I'll get a alien one instead. So we'll go with that for this
No,
year.
the alien's brilliant, actually.
All time, I don't know if it's a Christmas gift, but my nan and granddad bought me one of those translucent purple Game Boys,
Oh yeah.
which gave me like a lifelong obsession with Pokemon,
Oh
that I've just not been able to shake, especially this time of year when I'm like feeling nostalgic. So I think that's probably the best gift I've ever received. There's probably more. I probably should have actually done some
yeah.
thinking about this before
Honestly,
I asked it.
anything
But
like that when I was a kid, like Game Boy, DS, Nintendo 64, Xbox. I used to be so excited. Whereas like my Xbox I've got now, like I remember like it was about 6 months ago, I just went shopping on one random Sunday and was like, I'm gonna get an Xbox, and I just bought one. And I was happy, like I had a dopamine hit, but it was like that big compared to when I was little and would get like an Xbox as a gift.
short lived versus like sheer ecstasy, like some of the ones from childhood. That's insane. All right, you got nothing for this year. Oh no, you did. Sorry, you did the
No,
cubes.
yeah.
That's fine. Maybe instead of it called the Other Smith, I'm going to call it the Cube Travel Boxes.
They are really good. They are really good. And my mum got us something really cute. I can't remember what it was now. God, my memory's awful. Honestly, Christmas is a blur.
So I met with and I will shut up in a minute. I'll let you go because it's getting late. But I met with a good friend. I don't get to see her very often anymore. We used to work together when I used to work in Leek. Went for dinner with her and a partner. When Kelly was in bed, felt awful because she's been
Oh.
rotting. And I sat down and I said, "Look, it's great to see you, but I'm going to warn you right now. I've got a 30-second delay going on. People are saying things to me, and I genuinely, one, I can't remember. I've had so much food, like I've switched off from work, which has been great, but I've got a delay and I can't focus on things." And I was
Mhm.
like, "When's the last time we saw each other?" And I was like, "I've got this feeling of when we were together, how
Mhm.
I felt when we were together, and I can remember us being together. I don't know what the occasion was, what it was for, any of the
Yeah,
details of what happened, just the feeling of how I felt at that time. And I feel like that's how my memory is going, which is a worrying omen
it is bad.
for the future. But whereas my brother, like, has got insane memory.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, when you were a kid, remember when you said that to your nan?" I was like, "No, like not at all." Anyway, there you go.
You're
All
not
right.
alone. You're not alone.
One more thing. I got to tell you this. I guess, just bringing it back in my mind to it being at home for Christmas and the transatlantic
Mhm.
ness of this, kind of like a Britishism, an expression. Someone said to me the other day, one of Kelly's family was over. They were like, obviously I've been eating loads of food, so I've been going to the loo a lot more. And we got to bring it. We always get to this at some point, so why not end with it? It's fine. And they went, "Oh, have you dropped the kids off yet?" And it just like, I don't know, it just resonated with me. I was like, you know what, I'm home. Because no one in the US understands that saying whatsoever.
Oh, it's the best,
like, it's not a thing.
best phrase ever.
So, I mean, I'm like, at work, I've like trained people to say, I'll call you back in 5, just doing the school run. Just dropped off the kids. The bus broke down. Like, I get really into
You
it.
actually say that to people.
I mean, a couple of close confidants rather than anyone else. But it really made me laugh. But it stuck with me. Someone said it to me the other day. They were like, "Oh, you drop off the kids," and I was like, "Oh God, I'm home." No one gets that saying. And being as I say, I've got like all these Britishisms of like I've got people saying diary at work now, and they say calendar. Like diary's not a thing either. There's loads of things like that. Anyway, it just stuck with me. Anyway, this was fun.
It was fun. No, let's definitely do another one.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to make it work with schedules, but ideally, in 2 weeks' time, I don't know what we'll talk about. Probably drones.
No, we can.
Well,
we've got a whole brainstorm sheet we can discuss.
We have.
Yeah.
We have, definitely. I think politics will be a big one. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you living in London, and we've just had the election in the States. On the 20th, he's obviously going to get elected. He's going to get inaugurated. And I think he's going to come in like a house on fire with like 50 things that are going to be crazy controversial. So that might be controversial.
It will be quite entertaining, I think. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
I'll be watching closely from the UK.
Entertaining is the wrong word, isn't it? But it is popcorn worthy almost.
Yeah,
I just want to see what happens.
It's like you can't look away. That's what I mean by entertaining. Like you're gripped to the chaos.
100%. I think I should be much more worried because if he puts a tariff on Europe, it's really going to affect my business. It's going to be a big headache. But I also can't wait for him to get into power to see what happens because I've become so desensitized to politics now, even though I love it. I'm like, oh, let's see what happens. Anyway, what I will do is, to all the people who didn't listen, I put out a poll on the last one. I was like, oh, what do people think these drones are? Is it China? Is it Russia? Is it aliens? And one person voted, and it was Kelly.
Oh.
I know it was to do it. But I've not sent it to anyone. I've not advertised it because I didn't want really people from work watching it, really. This is, I don't know, a bit more of a personal thing. And she voted aliens. So I'm going to re-put that poll up there now. Well, not now, whenever it get a chance to post this. But yeah, no, look, this has been really fun. Thank you.
No, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. Let's definitely do it again.
Thanks for having me. You've passed the interview.
Next time I'll wear something a little bit less handmade tail.
I think you need to have a theme. My theme is going to be quarter zips. I've already wore this one, so I'm a bit disappointed in myself already, but I've got a collection of them.
I'll wear T-shirts from
our travels.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Mm-hmm. Kelly did that when she was working in Chicago. They did she did a T-shirt thing where they had to wear like concerts they'd been to. Mm-hmm. And obviously I've been to loads of concerts. She was just wearing my shit.
Oh, that's great. Oh my God, she'd have unlimited choice from your drawer, I'm sure.
All right, look, this has been really fun. We will catch up soon. I'll send you all of this and we'll figure it all out. But
excellent.
Hopefully you've not been too stressed.
No, I enjoyed it. Didn't need to top off any kids. All good.
I don't know. I'm sweating a little bit. You can probably see a little shine because this hoodie is a little bit quarter zip's a little bit warm. But no, we'll see. I ate more than my fair share of vegetables this evening. I had 2 steaks in a row, and I had beef today, so 3 red meats in a row. So you can imagine there's some pain coming.
That's gonna be. You're gonna be blocked up.
Well, yeah, and maybe on the next one we'll talk New Year's resolutions as well.
Yes, I need to set some. Yeah.
Not that I necessarily believe in them, but I actually stuck to the one that I did in 2024.
What was it?
I'll tell you another time.
Oh,
got something else to talk about, haven't we?
All right. I'll probably WhatsApp you in literally 20 seconds. What was it?
Yeah, I will. All right. Great to see you.
All right. Take care. Thanks, Ben.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye-bye. Cheers, folks. Thanks for listening.